Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome. I'm just checking if I am live. I think we're live. Hello, welcome everyone. Great to have you here. I am actually excited to be sharing with you the five most common mistakes that I see all the time people make when they try to learn Maqam. Okay, so I can see people hopping in. What I'm gonna do, say hello. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me and see me okay. And if you're watching a replay, then post #replay. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna share this video quickly in my group, qanun community. Hi, I see more people are in. Share to a group, the qanun community. Okay, done. Excellent. So let's dive straight in. If you don't know me, hi, I am Maya, and I have been on a mission to demystify Arabic music and to make it more approachable, and also to teach this beautiful, gorgeous instrument. So I have been playing qanuns for 29 years. Seems an awful lot. And I have been teaching for many, many years, and I taught people from everywhere. And the biggest hurdle that people face whenever they want to learn qanun or Arabic music is maqam. Well, why? It's because there are so many resources about this topic. They're often conflicting, they're often confusing, and there are no hands-on ways to learn this incredibly important topic. So here are the 5 most common mistakes that I see all the time, and so you can be aware of them and avoid them. So number 1, you try to study the maqam of the Middle East from all the traditions. Hold on a second. This is very common. What do I mean? You assume that maqam in the Middle East is one. It's not the case. It is similar. So what you need to do is to decide what tradition you're going to study. Are you going to study the Persian tradition? Are you going to study the Arabic tradition, which I am specialized at? Are you going to study the Turkish tradition? Why is it important? Well, guess what? Some maqamat in Arabic music have the same name in Turkish music, but they're actually different. So it can be incredibly confusing. So you need to decide on what tradition you are going to study. Do not assume that all three traditions, which all 3 use maqam, are the same. They're not. So decide, pick one tradition. Just what is the music that calls most to you? Is it Turkish? Is it Arabic? Is it Farsi? Then or Persian? Then choose that. Okay. So this is the first thing. Do not try to study like Middle Eastern maqam. That is such a wide topic. You're going to be overwhelmed. Okay. Pick one. Are you going to study Arabic, Turkish, or Persian maqam system? Okay, that is number 1. Number 2, you see maqam, the most common mistake that I see all the time is, especially for people and students coming from Western background, is that they apply Western music theory to Arabic maqam. Don't do that. It doesn't work this way at all, completely. What you need to do is you need to empty your head of, or try as much as you can to empty your head. I know it can be challenging. Try to empty your head from all the rules of Western music. Why? Because the algorithms of Arabic music are different. They are not because of like modulation pathways, for instance. They are not set because of a hidden rule. They're set because they have been done in a certain way for years and years and years. So one of the worst things that you can do to yourself if you're studying qanun or if you're studying Arabic music in general, is to think of it in Western music terms. Doesn't work this way at all. So you need to empty your head of Western music theory rules when you study maqam. That's super, super important. Okay. Number 3, which I see very often, everybody thinks of maqam in terms of a scale. It doesn't work this way. You might have heard me speak before about the building block system which I created, and maqamat are basically sequences of building blocks. And again, I will link to my video about the building block system below. It's a system that I worked incredibly hard to create, because I really wanted to keep it simple, not simplistic, and hands-on for anybody to understand it. So you need to think of maqamat not in terms of a scale. Think of it as building blocks, as Lego, right? This is so important. I see so many people practicing scales. No, it doesn't work this way. You need to work on the building blocks, which is the key component that creates the maqamat, before you go into how to build them, put them together. That is stage 2. And then stage 3 would be how to switch between them. So please, if you're studying maqam, do not think of them in terms of a scale. And guess what? This makes it simple. There are only 8 main building blocks. These create 99% of Arabic music. Yeah. That brings me to number 4. The most common mistake that I see all the time when people study maqamat is that they try to conquer everything all at once. It doesn't work this way. As I said, you need to work with the most common building blocks, which there are just 8. That's it. Many people get intimidated because they're told there are thousands of maqamat. It will take you many years to understand. And that is really when you come to sift and through all of the noise, most of the maqamat have different names for the same thing. And also, most of the maqamat are archaic, meaning they're no longer in use. So again, unless you're doing a PhD on maqam, you have it overwhelming you with information that's about a maqam that had been used in the 18th century is irrelevant. So you need to use what is today. You need to learn maqam in a systematic way. Okay, does that resonate? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your experience with maqam, because this is, it's like the ogre, you know, it's like, you need to learn maqam, run for your life. And it's all because of lack of systems, lack of resources in English, lack of I suppose just being stuck in the old way. And I love this tradition so much. I love this music so much. It's in my blood and bones, if you don't know me. And it makes me sad because people just give up on this just because they're so intimidated by thinking that they need to learn there's thousands of maqamat. No, in the beginning, you learn the building blocks. Then you learn how to put them together. It's like Lego, okay? And they're just 8 in the beginning. And then, you know, you just sort of play with how to switch between them. It's very simple. It's very simple. And again, this system has been incredibly effective, and I worked really hard to make it this way, in a way that even my 9-year-old understands it. So number 5, ready for most common mistakes. I see there's a comment. I'll respond to the comments at the end. The most common mistake I see all the time when people learn maqam is that people get only stuck in theory. Okay, I need to learn Maqam. Let me get all the books about Maqam. Well, I do not encourage that at all. Why? Because again, the resources are very, very, very conflicting. They're confusing. And they're not very grounded in practice. You know, if you come to the greatest theoretician that ever walked planet Earth, who is the guy who gave the qanun its shape, Abu Nasr al-Farabi, he said practice is above theory. Because what the theoreticians are trying to do is they're trying to make sense of what the performers are doing. But what I see all the time is that people just go for the theory and they don't look at the practice. And that they assume that they need to study music theory, they need to study, they need to be like on a pedestal or a genius in qanun or in music in general to even start touching the maqam. There's so much intimidation in this. It makes me nuts. Just because I hear these stories from my students all the time, which is why I'm so fired up about this. Let me offer you this. And again, this, if you heard this story before, bear with me, but I really want to bring this point home. Learning maqam, the most effective and the most organic way of learning maqam is by using your ears. Some of the biggest performers in Arabic music had no clue about how to read music, or didn't know how to anything about music theory to start with. Yet they had the maqam in their body. They could hear everything. And I mean, again, if you heard the story, bear with me, but I was once, I was in my second year, I think, of my studies at the High Institute of Music, and I was playing with like a band under the High Institute of Music, and we had to go to Aleppo to play at one of the oldest theaters in Aleppo. And let me tell you, I was nervous as hell. Because, you know, Aleppo is known for its sami'a. Sami'a are those people who are the connoisseurs of music. They are the people who, without their okay, you cannot you cannot be approved as a valid performer. And that applies to all the stars of Arabic music. Kulthum, Abdul Halim, Abdul Wahab, Fairuz, all of them, they had to go through the rite of passage of performing in front of the Sami'a of Aleppo, right? And here I am, I'm going to the Hababit, and I'm nervous. I'm just like, I'm sweating. And I was supposed to perform Taqsim Rast. And the guy, I performed the Taqsim, and then a guy came to me and after the Taqsim, and said, yeah, I really like the transition from the rest to the sabah. I really like that. That was really cool. And I was like, oh, thank you. Do you know how to read music? He said, no, I don't know how to read. He was illiterate. Yet he could hear everything. Another guy, I was like, after the gig, I went to a cafe, and there was a guy who was swiping like the road, and there was like a song by Kulthum. Obviously, there's always music in that place, and people were like having tea, and it was a lovely. And the guy was like, Allah ya Kulthum. Allah means like ole. It's like, I love that transition from, I don't know, Nahawan to Nahawan Murassa. This is the guy who sweeps the streets. We got lost in theory. We need to come back to the organic way, which is using your ear when you learn maqam. That is music theory. You can do that later if you want to, but it's not even essential. okay? And you're hearing this from somebody who's an academic, right? I went through the rite of passage of studying in institutes, and I'm telling you, you do not have to have that um, white ticket or to start learning Maqam. So guys, I hope that was helpful. If you want to learn the most effective way of learning Maqam, which is a system, again, that I have created, and I'm incredibly love those stories, Dominica. Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, I'm wasting my life. What am I doing? But again, I worked incredibly hard to make this reachable for anybody, including those who don't read music, who have no idea about music theory, for those who want to hear the maqam by their ear so they can embody the music, and later on so they can, you know, take their qanun journey to the next level, because your next level is the taqasim, and it really makes you a very well-rounded musician. And again, I am not going to go into why you need to learn maqam. I've given you, in my last live, I went into 10 reasons why you should learn maqam, and I could give you more. So I can link to that as well if you want. But if you want to learn my building block system, then I invite you to sign up for 5-day maqam Lego challenge. We start Monday. Yes, you're going to learn the basics of maqam. I'm not kidding. In 5 days. And I know some people will be like, oh, not possible. Well, try. What have you got to lose? It's completely free. And also, if you become an active engager in the process, you can learn prizes. What can you tell? You can learn, you can get plectrums for a present, or you can get an hour coaching with me, which is not available unless if you apply. You can get 3 months free at the Qanun family membership, and you might even get a signed CD. So give it a shot. Sign up for the Maqam Lego Challenge. You can do that at the link above. It's at qanunsecrets.com /challenge. And yeah, just know that it's completely possible. So just to recap, the 5 most common mistakes that I see all the time when people try to learn maqam are: number 1, they try to cover all the traditions. Pick one tradition that speaks to you, that makes you happy, that makes you that calls to you. Is it the Turkish? Is it the Persian? Is it the Arabic? Number 2, do not assume that they're the same. They're different, okay? They're all called maqam, but they're different. Number 2 is don't see it in terms of Western music. It doesn't work at all. You need to empty your head of Western music rules completely, okay? And number 3 is think of the maqam not as a scale. You need to think of it in terms of building blocks, and there are only main 8 building blocks, okay? Number 4 is don't try to learn all the maqamat at once. It doesn't work this way. There is a process. You learn the building blocks, the 8 main building blocks, then you learn how to put them together, and then you learn how to switch between them, and then you expand. There's a process and there's a system to that, okay? Trying to overwhelm yourself with millions of maqams who have millions of names which are actually the same or archaic, which have been used in the 18th century, is not the right approach. You need to learn what is being in use today, okay? And number 5 is just going for the theory and neglecting the organic way, which have been used for thousands of years before music theory even came to Arabic music. So these are the 5 most common mistakes. I hope that you found this helpful. And Raphael says, thanks, I agree. I'm glad that you found this helpful. I really hope that you're going to join me in the challenge. As I said, it's completely free. We start next week, next Monday, 5th of October at 4 p.m. BST. We're going to go. I'm also going to open the floor for questions so you can, so I can support you. So sign up for the challenge at qanunsecrets.com /challenge. And I will see you very soon. Bye. Lots of love.